Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Detective, a Hong Kong neo-noir mystery thriller from 2007 that was directed by Oxide Pang and stars Aaron Kwok. Now back in the mid-2000s, I remember that most of the Pang brothers movies received mixed reviews, with the exception of The Eye, which was mostly acclaimed. I've always disagreed with the general consensus of their films, especially their output from, say, 1999 through 2007, when they made stuff like Bangkok Dangerous, the original, The Eye 2, Abnormal Beauty, Recycle, Diary, and The Detective. I think all of these movies are pretty interesting and worth a watch. So much so that I would say that they were on a legitimate hot streak during this period. And whenever they came out with a movie back in the day, I would get excited. Since 2007, however, they've been very inconsistent. Some of their more recent stuff has been very disappointing, like Sleepwalker from 2011 being a big example of that. But I would say that their most recent best movie is probably The Big Call from 2017, which I reviewed on my channel. That's a little backstory for you. Now, in any case, here's the plot synopsis for The Detective. So our protagonist is a man by the name of Tom, a private investigator who was hired to track down a missing young woman who may be linked to a series of murders in Thailand. Now, one day, a man visits Tom's detective office because he's worried that a lady wants to kill him. So this man asks our protagonist to find the woman first before she could get to him. So he leaves Tom a picture and a large amount of cash without giving any other details. And our protagonist cannot resist this offer, and his investigation begins, but the mysterious murderer's body count continues to increase. So the Detective is a good quality flick from top to bottom, I think. The protagonist is solid, and this is one of Aaron Kwok's better performances, even to this very day. When I think of my favorite Aaron Kwok performances, The Detective is high on my list. He really anchors the film. His character's just a normal dude who's trying to make a living, you know what I mean? He gets this job to do this, to find this woman. He lives in, less than modest conditions with limited funds to his name. He actually owes money to multiple people. His office is a bit dirty and disorganized. His desk fan doesn't even work, you know what I mean? So he's a very good example of a vulnerable protagonist. And all of these things make him very relatable, because he ends up getting in over his head in this investigation, which is always an interesting place to be for a protagonist. You're kind of like, man, I don't know, this guy should really stop investigating this mystery, but he gets kind of obsessed with it and he wants to find out what's going on. So it's one of those. And they set up the character well. And it makes you want to follow along with him as he conducts his investigation. Now, Liu Chai-chi has a supporting role. He just recently passed away, unfortunately, last year. But I've always liked this guy. Very reliable actor. Very entertaining veteran actor who's been in a lot of stuff. He was in a bunch of Dante Lam's films, and you'll definitely recognize him from those. And he's very entertaining in The Detective. He plays this cop who helps our, private detective by giving him some inside information from the police side of the investigation. And they have a good partnership in this. Script writing is good overall. Our protagonist's reactions are mostly understandable, and the way he goes about his investigation is pretty logical. Like when he interacts with people, he's questioning people to get information. He's pretty smooth. He makes these people trust him in a short period of time so that they're comfortable giving him some information. He also uses some little tricks of the trade that are interesting to see, sticking a toothpick into the hinge of a door, in the bottom, real secretly to see if someone enters the apartment at a later time. One important aspect is how our detective persistently uses photographs to extract vital clues regarding his investigation. It's a pretty engaging mystery overall, and it adds some elements that you may not expect in a film of this kind. So given the typical story here, that the typical plot synopsis is nothing special. He's a detective who attempts to solve a series of murders. But this movie does infuse some additional entertainment in the form of style, camera work, and some surprises. Some of the shots here are neat. Like there's a confrontation with an attractive woman in her apartment, and I like how that's shot and edited. And there's also a tour inside of a photograph that was pretty cool. It's also set in Thailand, which gives the culture a distinct feel. Pacing is good. It's got an effective mix of suspense and moderately shocking moments. This is not like a graphically violent film or anything like that, but there are a few corpse shots here and there, just enough to give it a little bit of an edge, to know that there's danger present. And we get a few chase scenes to enjoy as well. Soundtrack is nice, and we get a notable Pang Brothers style percussion score mixed in. So I do recommend The Detective. I quite enjoyed it. It's an entertaining murder mystery. You can still find the DVD at very reasonable prices. There were 2 sequels made, The Detective 2 from 2011 and Conspirators from 2013, neither of which are quite as good as this first film, but, if you really like this one, check out the sequels. I think they're watchable. All right, so as always, we will see you next time.